Hi and welcome to another episode of Delaware County Political News, Meet the Elected Official. Today we are here with Councilwoman Elizabeth Williams of Chester City. She is also Chester City's Director for Parks and Recreation. Ms. Williams' professional insurance experience includes 45 years collectively with various private insurance companies, life, health, property, and casualty, and later with Health Partners, where she transitioned individuals from medical assistance to Health Partners insurance program. During her tenure with Health Partners, she enrolled more than 10,000 men, women, and children. She also worked for a job developer for Philadelphia's Welfare to Work initiative, where she was responsible for placing more than 5,000 under and unemployed individuals into sustainable employment, and was a human resource manager in a security firm for 5 years. More recently, she was a professional tutor in Chester Upland, Upper Darby, Chester school districts, providing educational assistance to students under the No Child Left Behind initiative. Ms. Williams' present community involvement includes Executive Secretary for the Chester Democratic Party and Delaware County Democratic Vice Chair, in addition to volunteering for the Chester community. She is a member of the National Congress of Black Women and a member of St. Matthew's Baptist Church in Williamstown, New Jersey. Please enjoy my interview with Councilwoman Elizabeth Williams. Councilwoman, thank you for being a guest on Delaware County Political News.
Thank you for having me.
What major issues faced City Council since you have taken power?
Our major issues are housing, cleaning our city, bringing in businesses that will give us a better tax base, and taking care of our community.
And there has been a measure of success
Yes.
in redevelopment because the Center City area has experienced a revitalization within the past several years. What factors brought about that Center City revitalization? On the Avenue of the States?
On the upper part of the Avenue of the States, we have the new arts programs going there.
People haven't been there yet. Describe it for people throughout the rest of Delaware County.
Well, we have different clubs. We have an art studio, which is ran by Devin, and they also connect with Widener College, and we're working with them. We have a program across the bridge, and we work with the Widener students, and they come in and do art shows and perform and different things like that. But it's also open to the community, so people in our community get to show their talent, and it's been very helpful to our community. Plus, it's open. We have open mic where they can come in and just talk about whatever they want to talk about, express themselves, and also their arts, like if you sing or whatever kind of music that you have, you can express that there. Then we also have an art gallery.
Please describe your duties as a councilwoman.
Well, as a councilwoman, I play two parts. I'm a director and a council person. Parks, public property, and recreation.
Tell us about that first then.
So my duties there are to supervise and make sure that things are carried through for the city of Chester. Put on in our parks department, we make sure our parks are kept up to the finest and have them looking manicured in a professional way. Where our public property is like our city hall, the police station. They fall in with our public property, and we try our best to keep them up. My other is recreation. So we have recreation for basically everybody in the city of Chester. We deal with our young people. We have tennis. We have soccer. We do leaders camp. We do all summer long. We have the feeding program where we feed over 500 children a day. We keep them busy during the summertime, and they keep us busy during the summertime. We also do a 4th of July celebration, and we also do a city celebration. On February the 14th, we celebrate the city's history.
And do you do something on Mother's Day also?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, we also have the Mother's Day Parade. And we used to be the only city in the country that did that, but we've been finding out otherwise that other people have too. But that's going on 100 years. So we celebrated 100 years this year. And we had a great time. We also had the mummers from Philadelphia. I always wanted to see the mummers. So we had 2 groups from Philadelphia that came to our parade. And it was really, really great. The people are still talking about it. They're so happy. They said it was like it used to be when we were children. So everybody's happy and satisfied about that.
Councilwoman Williams, what got you interested in running for office and becoming an elected official?
Well, that's funny you would ask me that. As a little girl, I never understood why I wasn't allowed to go to school when I lived in Upland. The Chester Upland, it wasn't Chester Upland, it was Upland School District. Back in, as we would say, those days, didn't allow black children in their schools. So we had to demonstrate, and we started going to the school board meetings and picketing them because they wouldn't allow us to go to school in Upland. And we had the council meetings, and we would picket their council meetings. So as time grew on, I became very, very interested in the history, the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights, the rights that we have, should have to be able to go to school. So I always attended school board meetings, and then I started attending. Once I moved to Chester, I started attending city council meetings. I was always interested in history. I always wanted to know how bills were written, who makes those decisions. And so during my younger days, I was just always active and wanted to learn more and more about how to run a city, what the city consists of. And I would just go to city council meetings all the time. So I've just always been active. I was registered as a Democrat when we was at the age too, because it wasn't 18 back there in those days. I think it was like 21 or something like that. So I registered as a Democrat, and they had what they called ward leaders, and the ward leader's house that I went to register at was a Republican, and he was in Chester, and he was on Green Street. So I couldn't wait for my birthday. I couldn't wait. I did not sleep all night long because I knew that next day that I was going to be old enough to go register and vote, and that was the birthday present I gave to myself. I got up that morning, 9 o'clock, knocked on that man's door and asked him for the registration so I could register to vote. And when he seen that I wrote Democrat on there, he said, "I've never had anybody to register Democrat here." And I was like, "Oh, really?" He said, "No." I said, "Well, this is your first time, and when my card come back, it better have Democrat on it." So he was really, really upset.
And then you actually participated in changing history, didn't you, Councilwoman?
Oh, I never thought about it that way, but I guess I did.
Tell us how you participated in our nation's history.
Well, I joined the NAACP Youth Council, and with the NAACP Youth Council, we would meet every Thursday night at St. Mary's Church in Chester, and we got together and we started demonstrating at the Great Leopard Skating Ring. That was a skating ring that they would only let us come on Wednesday night. It was called Ebony Night. they would let African Americans come on Wednesday night. And we wanted to go all the time, just like everybody else. And I had friends, Caucasian friends. One of my friends, Susie, and she used to always ask me, why you can't come and go skating with me on Saturday? And I said, well, did you know we're not allowed to skate there on Saturday? And she said, no, I didn't know that. I said, yeah, because she used to always ask me to come and go skating, and I used to say, well, I can't go. So she was one that she probably thought it was because of my parents, and I explained to her, no, it's because the owner will not allow African Americans in the skate that time. So we started picketing. Our NAACP youth corps started picketing it. And then I guess after a while he finally gave in and decided to let us go there. But it was deep because upstairs was the skating ring, but downstairs was a supermarket. And so many of our people supported that supermarket. And we just felt that it wasn't fair that we shopped there downstairs, but we couldn't skate upstairs. So finally they gave in.
My understanding is you were one of the original freedom riders back in the 60s. And that is documented in the 100 years.
Pictures of NAACP.
Tell me about that.
Yes. Well, you know, it's really funny because people always think when you say you fought for freedom was always in the South, but it was in the North just as well as it was in the South. And we would go to different areas protesting and demonstrating for people to have the right to maybe like go to the movies or go in the stores. Well, right here, and because right here in the city of Chester, whether people know it or not, they didn't allow us in the certain stores. And plus, like at 6 o'clock, you weren't allowed downtown Chester. So, and they weren't hiring. They weren't in the business of hiring African Americans. So we picketed them. And we also had a Woolworths 5 and dime that we were not allowed to eat at the counter. So we had classes with like Dr. Martin Luther King, and they showed us how to be nonviolent, how to sit at the counter, and if they knocked you off the counter, how to get back up, and different things like that. They taught us not to fight back, to let them be the aggressor and not us. And the young people that did not want to take that kind of brutality did not come back, but the ones that was dying and determined that we wanted our rights, we just stayed there and we just took the beatings. They locked us up. We were locked up in jail right here in the city of Chester. They took us out to media. It was a battle. It was a battle here, but we made it. We made it, and I guess that's why my fight is for the city of Chester, because I know how hard it was for us to get to where we are today.
What do you want to say to people who say that there is no racism today, even subconscious?
It's there, but it's more protruding now than what it was back in the day. It's like, to me today, we have gone back to the 60s. The change in the presidency has really given the people the rights to come out and to take us back to the 60s. And that's like not a good thing, because I feel that the young people today, especially the African Americans, they're not going to take what we took back in the days. And and my grandchildren express that to me. They say, "Mama, we're not going to take what y'all took. So our best bet is to see if we can get along and give everybody their fair rights and treat everybody right and love one another and bring the country together like it used to be." And what is really bad is when I hear the president keep talking about, let's take America back. Who are you taking America back from? Because we all of us in here, in this country, have come from other countries. And so when he's saying take America back, if you decide to take America back and we all go back home, where am I going to go back to? I wasn't born in Africa. I know nothing about Africa. I was born here in the United States, and I feel that this is my home, and so it'll be to the point where we fight for our home. This is our home now, so this is what we're going to fight for.
Do you see any examples in Delaware County of the type of elitism that he's expressing?
Yeah, because what I've noticed is like a lot of Caucasians now are more aggressive when it comes to, I don't know if it's just the African American women, but I know for me, I've noticed where a lot of the Caucasian men are like, they're like, if you're driving and you're not driving fast enough, or if you're in different areas, they're like really mean to you. They're like, they give you nasty looks. They try to run. To me, they act like they're trying to run you down. If you're walking, when you're driving, they're driving on almost like they're in your car. They're really aggressive today than what it used to be. Back to me before Mr. Trump came into office, the country was calm.
So you actually notice a change in behavior of Caucasian people since Trump was elected in Delaware County?
Yes. It's very aggressive, yes. And in some cases it scare you because you don't know really what to do. If you call the police, are the police going to be with me, or are the police going to be with them?
I take it as something really subtle, right?
Because I'm not the only one, but I'm not the only one that feels that way, because I've had talked to other people in my community, African Americans in my community, and they're feeling the same way. They're getting that same feedback. So we're like comparing notes, and it's out there.
Do you think that this is something that Trump caused, or is always there, that Trump empowered people to bring it out?
I think it's always been there. I think it's been there, and with his presidential attitude, that he's promoting it to a certain extent.
What advice or guidance do you have for the good people of Delaware County who want to fight back such hateful attitudes?
Well, we could pray. We can pray about it. Pray to stay together. Pray to work together, and come together and get involved. I tell people to get involved. The way you really can make a change is you have to get involved. If you're not a part of the change, then you can't talk about it. If you don't vote, you can't talk about it if you don't vote. And I hear people keep saying, "Oh, the people that's in government, they call you career politicians." To me, I don't consider myself a career politician. I consider myself a person that want to do right for everybody. No matter, I don't care what your party is. When I'm out there, you can ask anybody in Chester if I ever walked up to them and say, hey, I'm not going to service you because you're a Republican. I know the people's parties. That's not what I'm there for. I'm there for everybody. Everybody in the city of Chester, everybody in the country. Because some of my work did meet the country and make the country a better place. And the government start local. It starts local. You still have out there in the county, you have, it's still Republicans. It's basically Republicans that run that county seat. Your lawyers, that justice system out there is basically ran by Republicans. There's a feeling of fear when we have to go out to the courthouse because we feel that we will not get a fair trial. And we feel that in order to make it better, we need to make a change.
Why is the courthouse being a substantial majority Republican something undesirable to residents in Chester City?
Because the people that have experienced it, and they just feel that they're not getting a fair chance out there. And what we feel is that if we change it, make that change, and we get a mixture. We don't saying it got to be all Democrat. We don't have to say it has to be all Republican. But if it's even, then we feel that we have a better chance as opposed to it just being as it is all Republican right now, and not have to fear because your lawyer tells you that you know you're not going to get a fair trial in Delaware County because, number one, the majority of the jurors are Caucasians. They live in the suburbs and they don't like the black people in Chester or the African American people in Chester. So what they do is they make you take a bargain or take a plea as opposed to going and have a full trial where you have trial by the jury. So most of the people or the young people that have been to court in media are not given a fair trial. So we have to change that.
Councilwoman Williams, what I hear you saying is it's an issue of representation. That's what I hear you expressing a need for.
Yes,
is that fair to
yes.
say?
Well, because even the lawyers will already tell you that. The lawyers tell you that before they even before you even hire them. They tell you that you're not going to get a fair trial in Delaware County. The lawyers tell us that.
We had a discussion about what you do as an elected official, and you mentioned your duties for parks and recreation, but not as a councilwoman. Tell us about that.
As a councilwoman?
Please.
I take care of my people. I love the people. I love the people. We as mayor and city council, we work hard for our city.
What current issues are important to the people right now?
Some of the things that we're working on is really gonna make our city go and grow, and make us feel good, bring up our tax base, bring in new businesses and investors into the city of Chester.
How is Chester City unique?
Well, they love one another. We love each other, and we work together. And we're family. We're family. Our culture is African American, and I'm quite sure we have learned from each other different, areas that we have come from our foreparents have come from out of Africa, and we have a rich history of African Americans in the city of Chester. Well, we have a history of having a Mother's Day parade in the city of Chester, and this year was a 100-year anniversary, so that was really celebrated. And we had the mummers from out of Philadelphia. They came, and we just had a great time. And the people that I speak to, even as today, all they could talk about is the parade.
Historically, how has Chester been treated by county government officials?
Well, the way I feel that they look down on the city of Chester, that we don't deserve to have certain things. I don't feel that they respect us as a city. And we are the city. We're the only city in Delaware County, but they think they're the city. Media think they're the city. When they, because they've taken it away, and they're not, to me, they're not sharing some of the things that should be shared with the city of Chester, but yet they use financial resources, but yet they use our statistics to get some of those grants and things that they get. And what they end up doing is they use it out there and give us the scraps, what's left. But yet you got those funds on the backs of the city of Chester.
You authored and self-published 2 books, Counting Clowns and Playtime, and Let Us Get You in the Door for primary readers. Tell us about those 2 books.
Okay, the Let Us Get You in the Door is a book in reference to preparing people for work, getting them employment, gainful employment. I wrote that, when I was working for the Welfare to Work program. The same techniques that I use to get them employment is the same techniques that I have in that book. My Counting Clowns was when I went back to school, Delaware County Community College, for early childhood education. And my students that I had at the Presbyterian Church where I did my internship, my project was to give them an activity. And my activity with them was about clowns. And so I took that book and turned it into a book with the Counting Clowns. My playtime, the playtime one is funny too, because all that is your timetables. And because you know how children don't like to study their timetables. So I just turned it around and said playtime. I do that. I have fun doing that. I have fun writing books. I also wrote one about my great-great-grandmother. Her name was Betty Ashton. She was a slave, and they moved here to Pennsylvania, and they worked on the Thornberry farm. All my relatives came up and worked on that farm. And now Thornberry and Wawa have partnered. So they worked that farm, the Thornberry farm in Thornberry, PA. That's how we got to Pennsylvania. And you wonder how your family ended up here. We have people in Pennsylvania. We're called the Northern Exposures, and my cousins and them that live down Washington, D.C., we call them the Southern Delights, because they stayed down in Washington, but they came up here. My foreparents came up here after slavery was over. And the slave master told my grandma she had to leave. And my Uncle Ben, he was the slave master's son, but he passed for Caucasian. He had a job on the Thornberry farm, and he had them to come up here.
You actually ran for office, also for county council.
Yes.
And what did you learn about county politics in that election?
Well, I learned that you have to get out there and work hard. You have to get out and know the people. The county.
What did you learn about the GOP strategies on election?
Well, they had the money. Their strategy is always the money. When you think about the Democrats, we didn't have the money. Even with the city of Chester, we didn't have the money to get to for campaigning like they did. But we felt that everybody has the right. You have the right to have two parties. I mean, maybe more than two now. But I'm just saying, back there in them days, you had the right to have a party. And everybody has the right to cast their votes.
You ran in 2007?
Mm-hmm.
What was the financial disadvantage that you would say that you were up against?
Billions of dollars. When basically all I had was $2. $2.
It seems like you're going against billions.
But it didn't. It was funny because I didn't even think about that. I didn't deal with the money. It was the thing that I dealt with. Is I have to see the people. The people needed to see me and see who I was. So I just went all over the county, and I would just talk to people, knock on doors, put out my handmade flyers. My handmade information of who I was and what I represented. You know what I'm saying? That's all I did. My stuff was handmade. It wasn't done from no printing press or anything like that. But I don't feel bad about it. I don't feel bad about it because everything that I did in life was a learning experience. So, it just made me stronger. It made me get to know a lot of more people in Delaware County. And I enjoyed it myself. It was fun. It was fun to me.
Great. That's all we have time for today. And I want to thank you for being a guest again on Delaware County Political News.
Thank you so very much. And have a great day.
You do the same.
Mm-hmm.
We have been here with Councilwoman Elizabeth Williams of Chester City. And I am your host, Larry DeMarco. If you like this video, please don't forget to share it with all the members of your contact list and Facebook friends. We're signing off. Tune in next time. Bye for now.